I think it's world building with paintings, sculptures, music, performance, poetry. But I think that ultimately what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to claim sovereign territory. Hinwo hoyam maidam, hinwo hoyam maidam, hinwo hoyam maidam, hu, udesem, 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 uskanu. You know, myself being somebody who is multi-ethnic of both Irish descent and Indigenous Californian Maidu and Modoc descent, I'm constantly existing in a world where even if the land is my ancestors' land, it's always occupied by other people's inventions. And I think that when I make my art practice, it kind of claims back some sort of space, some sort of territory for me. And then in that space, or in that sculpture, in that installation or performance, it can be a moment to tell a story that's been forbidden. So in that way, I think knowing who somebody is and where they come from is really important to know what they're trying to tell you. You know, when you have your Indigenous belief system, you have your culture, you have a sense of understanding things, but it's not ultimately shared by the vast majority of people around you. And so to walk in two worlds means to kind of navigate the kind of colonized reality or the dominant reality, as well as a spiritual reality. And then with me being, you know, visually looking like the oppressor and then having this tie to being the oppressed, like you embody both things. So you're kind of switching back and forth. You always have one foot in this world and one foot in that world. This is kind of one reason why I really love iridescence, because it's never really kind of one color, it's always shifting. I think it's the job of artists to tell stories. And storytelling is a really respected Indigenous art form. So in that way, I use my performances, I use my sculptures, paintings, all of that, and there's imagery that comes from wisdom that I've learned from elders, Maidu stories, belief systems, and I focus a lot on the language as well, because within the language is the entire worldview. I think using my body is an assertion of sovereignty. I mean, I like to dance, I like to perform, I like to embody things. So I mean, I feel like it's just my instrument, but my instrument is also the document that I'm making work about. I use different mediums depending on how urgent the idea is. For instance, if it's something that I feel is like really about action, you know, maybe it's very tied to activism, that had to be a performance, because I wanted to show the endurance, I wanted to show how real it was. Whereas if I want to make something to really be committed to history, then painting and sculpture, fine art kind of makes more sense, because I'm trying to leave some sort of document. I think that there's kind of two different categories that I'm always playing between. One is the very masculine mechanical, my father being this car flipper, and then my mom come from an Indigenous Californian Maidu and Modoc descent. So I use feathers, I use shell, and I use a lot of animal products. There's a tradition of adorning and painting hides within Native art. But for me, it's really important to take the objects from my environment and put them into the paintings and sculptures. And I think, again, it's about, you know, when you're stating sovereignty, you have to kind of assert that, you know, maybe you don't want to do work on the void of a white blank canvas. Maybe you want to pull in things that feel more familiar to you.